We've been dating for 3 years. I met him only 5 days after moving to New York City. He was living in Manhattan taking care of his sick mom. He owns a convenience store and volunteered at dog shelters. I really just fell for him right away. I still think he is just the most amazing, kind man I've ever met. We decided to move to his old neighborhood in Brooklyn where his family is from after his mom died. I spent a lot more time his friends after that. They are just kind of sketchy. Not like fully criminal sketchy, but just sketchy adjacent I guess. A lot of them do drugs. I've seen more drugs in the last 7 months than I have ever seen in my life. My BF avoids drugs entirely, thankfully. A lot of them have fucked up home lives and spend a lot of their time at dive bars and clubs. Most of them drink too much. Not alcoholism level, but too much regardless. Most work pretty shitty service industry or blue collar jobs and live in shitty apartments well into their 30s now. The stories they tell of their past growing up in Brooklyn genuinely kinda scare me. These guys grew up rough in a way that I can't even imagine. My boyfriend has known a lot of these guys since he was young. They are kinda just his neighborhood crowd, and it's a bit unavoidable to see them. They hang out on stoops and are constantly around the general area. It just kinda scares me. I know I'm sheltered. I know I'm not used to this, but I can't help but feel a bit sensitive. I also know how they view me, as the sheltered WASP suburban transplant girl. That is a perception which I'm sure will never change. I'm the eternal outsider. I don't have anywhere near an accent. I don't dress or talk like them. They can spot me from a mile away. I don't dislike them as people. They are friendly enough to me. But they can be crud assholes a lot too, especially to each other. And some of them have said pretty fucked up problematic stuff. But I try to stay away from ever engaging on any of that considering a pretty large amount, probably like 40%, are POC themselves, and I'm white, and they have a few LGBT people mixed in there. If they wanted to say something about that stuff, they would have, and I guess there's kind of more of an acceptance of saying fucked up jokes and stuff like that here. They just laugh it off. To put it simply, Brooklyn never got the memo that the R word is not okay. It sometimes feels like it's 2002 out here. It's awkward just dealing with that type of stuff. There's this expectation in society to call out problematic behavior, and yet I feel like I'm fulfilling the WASP transplant stereotype if I do, and I hate that. Is it weird to say that I can almost feel the judgment of people I knew in the past every time I'll let that shit slide? Like I have so many friends from my college who would hate that I'm sitting here letting this shit slide, and yet there I am. IDK. I feel like this is now a major part of my social life. Dealing with these people. IDK what to really do. IDK if I will ever get used to this. IDK how I can, say, have my friends or family visit from my hometown and deal with the embarrassment of having them possibly run into these people. And I know this all sounds very classist. They're working class Brooklynites and I'm some sheltered suburban girl. Sometimes I wanna just hit myself in the head for feeling these things about them. And my boyfriend? He's still amazing. If he were any less amazing I wouldn't tolerate this. When I think of him all I can think of is how great he is and how I wanna marry him. But then when I think of this, it bothers me a lot. What do? Just leave it alone. Embrace it a bit. Get a leather jacket and become one of the boys. My sister's recommendation lol. Any possible solution I could propose just makes me feel like I'm keeping him away from his community. TL. Doctor, don't like my boyfriend's friends being as sketchy as they are. I'd take some time to think about what you're afraid OF*. They do drugs and drink a lot, but don't mind that your BF doesn't. They work shitty jobs and live in shitty apartments. Man, that's half of New York. As for what they say, I'd talk to your BF about it and then set some ground rules when they're around. He's known them long enough he should be completely fine telling them something like hey, chill with the R stuff, GF is here. I think it's pretty hilarious that she is up in arms about them doing drugs and drinking when I guarantee plenty of her white suburbanite peers drink and indulge in casual drug use. She's being a little too naive and precious. Imo. Educated, white-collar people love their liquor and designer party drugs as much as her BF's friends love their beers and weed. If you don't like them, just make other plans when your boyfriend hangs out with them. Also, working in the service industry and living in a crappy apartment isn't a reason not to like someone. If you've told people this, I agree, they aren't going to think much of you expressing disapproval of them. It sounds to me like you're way out of your comfort zone and flailing a bit. Where I think you're getting stuck is trying to make yourself feel better by finding things about these friends to judge. After all, if these people are objectively problematic, then you're not failing by not feeling comfortable around them. My advice to you is to accept that it's okay to feel out of place. Accept that it might not be easy or quick to break into this group. Accept that things are going to feel weird for a while. It's okay to feel like you're still an outsider. Don't beat yourself up for having these feelings. I think you'll find less emotional need to judge them if you stop judging yourself for not fitting in. This needs to be the top comment. Are you bothered by this stuff? Or are you bothered by what your white college educated friends would think about this stuff? Yeah, I think the op needs to check some privilege here and spend some time thinking about what's actually important to her and what's just a taboo her peers. This comes off really classist. You say you don't dislike them, but that's an obvious lie based on your descriptions of them. When they start saying things you don't like, excuse yourself and go find something else to do. Do not give your BF an ultimatum or ask him to see his support network less. They understand him and his life in a way you absolutely can/will never. But you don't understand. They live in crappy apartments and work crappy jobs. They're obviously objectively terrible. All I can really find fault with this group is that they speak crassly. People grow up rough. That's not their fault. They work blue collar jobs and have shitty apartments. Have you seen the job or housing market? Do you know how difficult it is to get basic resources or education? Other than these things, can you pinpoint why they are sketchy? Or is it just the stereotypes you associate with those people? What even is sketchy? Is that just another word for your personal discomfort? If you were to join my friend group, a very suburban and privileged group of people, you would be absolutely shocked at the things that come out of our mouths. Politically correct? Never heard of it. But that's just how we joke amongst ourselves. And now that we are in our 30s and have disposable income, oh boy, the drugs we do. You're focusing a lot on the potential judgment of your fellow waspy peers and how you would be embarrassed to be associated with these people. I think you need to check your prejudices and biases and be a bit more open-minded with these people. Honey, you moved to Brooklyn. If you can't swim with the fish, get out of the pond. You are what people hate about gentrifiers. I'm just laughing at the white, college-educated woman who wants to move to the city and then pearl clutch at the working-class city people. OMG, my college friends would hate that I'm not calling out a lot of these poor non-white people's problematic microaggressions. Girl, not everyone keeps up with what's approved or not approved to say on Twitter. But yeah, just say you aren't a big fan of them as friends. Tell your boyfriend he wants to hang with his friends a good bit. That's his friends. But you'd prefer to spend time one-on-one and slowly phase yourself out. I don't think Op has bad intentions, but she reminds me of every white feminist who posts photos from BLM marches on Instagram, but feels uncomfortable when she's in a room where white people are the minority. Sounds like she wanted the Sex and the City experience, but could only afford to live in Brooklyn lol. Why did you move to Brooklyn? What's wrong with Brooklyn? I actually cringed at all her comments about Brooklyn, as if the borough is exclusively filled to the brim with people like this. Her op is the most classic white girl possible, and she doesn't see it. Suburban white people problematic doesn't reflect reality, who knew? I stopped reading after you said blue collar jobs. Full stop. I'm in the trades and have friends from different fields, doctors, lawyers, engineers, etc. They think I'm the coolest thing to walk the planet. Your BF is actually a nice guy. I wouldn't wanna be around you either. I rolled my eyes at that part of the op as well. This does sound classist. You don't have to hang out with them, but as a black East Coast girl, I don't always feel like I have a similar set of experiences as the folks I socialize with living here in Los Angeles or from Greater California, but I have no reason to think anything other than well of folks I've met through my partner. They are kind and treat me with respect and openness, and don't suggest I'm anything other than well intentioned too. You don't have to associate with any of these people other than your boyfriend, or your boyfriend either. You're mostly just describing regular *** people who happen to be less well off than you and your family. As long they are not actually hurting anyone, leave it alone. Live and let live, that kind of thing. TBH, it sounds like you have some bigotry, mainly classist, programmed into you from your upbringing. You might want to start really questioning your preconceptions and whether everything really is so wrong. I hate the way you talk about your boyfriend's friends. It comes across as condescending and with disdain. It feels like you're conflating problematic views with them having a difficult life, as though both are issues for you. I don't know, it really seems like you need a reality check. From the word sketchy, I instantly knew you were a wasp talking about POC from a more urban area. I love the audacity of someone who identifies as a sensitive, sheltered wasp stepping in and telling BIPOC and LGBTQ+ how to stop being racist, bigoted, and classist. You're so worried about what your friends think of these people, of seeing you with these people and the way they live. Why aren't you worried about what these people think of you? This is your boyfriend's chosen family, and you sit on a very high horse, looking down on them for making different lifestyle choices than you. Why do you think you know better than them? You are looking for someone to tell you it's okay for you to feel the way you do. That won't happen. You are absolutely the problem here, and you need to start learning how to demount from that pedestal you've placed yourself on before you lose your partner. Go to therapy. You sound relatively woke, so you probably understand why country small town people tend to be more closed-minded, right? It's because often everyone there is from similar backgrounds. As an example, it's easy to hate black people if you have never actually been friends with one and only know them from biased news. In cities, this happens less. Obviously racism still exists because people are simply exposed to each other more. It's harder to hate black people or immigrants or trans people when you see them every day, went to school with them, and have loved experience that they are regular people. Basically that is what is happening to you, but with waspiness. You're getting culture shock around these new types of people who you've never been in contact with before. Instead of immediately vilifying them, or describing them as sketchy, or judging their drug taking, working class jobs and apartments, try and simply recognize your reaction for what it is, and open your mind to become more comfortable around people who are different from you. Who cares what your waspy friends would think? They are classist and snobby. You are too, but it's up to you if you want to stay that way. God, you sound insufferable. Really comes off like you think you're so much better than these people. I can tell you right now, I prefer the company of working class regular people over pompous college elitists like you any day. What you say is true, but there are millions like her. Drive through any well-off neighborhood and it's the same game almost all of them are playing. You do realize blue-collar jobs have to be worked by someone, right? Honey, if you're judging people on that, you need to check yourself. And you're 33. This post reads like you're 19. It's time to get unsheltered real quick. Damn, the entitlement on this post. I can't imagine dealing with people that make less money than me. Prayers for you. Honestly, I think you're being judgmental, and yes, you sound classist. I'm glad you're talking to people about it, and I'm not trying to be judgmental myself, just acknowledging and confirming what you're saying. Kinda fucked me up when you were worried your family would see these people and that would embarrass you. If someone says something you're uncomfortable with, speak up politely but firmly. They might give you a *** about it. Just let it roll off your back. They seem accepting, and honestly those who are rough around the edges are usually great people. My group of friends doesn't give a *** if you do or don't do drugs. Some do, some don't. Some drink like it's their job, some don't. Most work blue-collar jobs. Most are behind when it comes to PC language. It's not malicious. My group doesn't give a *** if you grew up in a *** neighborhood, or if you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. Just be nice and be yourself. You might learn a few things from these people, and being around them might help break down barriers and preconceptions. Wow, there is a lot to unpack here. This is one of the most classist, judgmental, privileged things I have read in a while. If you don't like them, don't interact, but don't tell your boyfriend not to hang with his friends. You are definition being sheltered and sound very classist, like bordering on there is an income level to be friends with you. It does not sound like he's the type who is making asterisk decisions because of these people. That is what you should care about. As long as your boyfriend has his asterisk together, his friends more working class should have zero effect on you. I can guarantee what happens if you try and police their culture for being too mean to one another. That would be a very stupid thing to do. You don't have to be best friends or anything, but you absolutely need to loosen up. I have a couple friends who have asterisk jobs, but are good people otherwise. Quite honestly, if I heard my wife be as classist and judgy about them as you are here, I'd be really pissed because it's shitty. You sound insufferable. IDK, I'm sure a lot of your peers and friends in college did drugs too. It's just that the drug of choice and where you do it is different based on class. I wouldn't judge people for living in shitty apartments and make. What is a shitty apartment? A walk up. In that case, I live in one too, and I work a very white collar job requiring advanced degrees and everything. It seems like you're going through culture shock. Maybe don't assume that everything about them fundamentally wrong, just because you would do different things though.